What's going on, guys? Boy Joey672 coming to you guys over right now. So I want to talk about training camp, 5th day. Okay, we're getting forward with all this stuff. We're getting to the motions of everything that's going on. The coaches are starting to see the young talent on this team that's really making huge strides to make this roster, and seeing things from players that they really never thought they would see right now, and they're seeing it faster than a blink of an eye. So I want to start out with Carson Wentz. Okay, Carson Wentz. Nelson Agholor was his main target today. Threw some deep balls to Nelson Agholor today. Pretty much 93% of his passes that are going to receivers are getting there. Okay, I think accuracy is a lot better this year. I think him being 100% healthy with the accuracy is going to be where it's going to count the most right now. And you know, Carson Wentz isn't perfect. He's going to miss a shot or two. This is a good time for Carson Wentz to test out, his short window throwing and kind of getting those balls in there. And seeing the players that are really good, that have great concentration on catching those balls through short windows. Guys right next to him, a guy that misses the ball for an interception, gets right through his body. You never really know. So this is probably a good mental aspect of the whole training camp, especially this is why these are valuable reps, and that's why nobody should be missing these reps at all. But Nelson Agholor was his main target today, and had a really good day. Carson Wentz, just another phenomenal day today. Andre Dillard started with the first team today, just for the hell of it. Because I know Jason Peters they're not gonna go crazy with Jason Peters in training camp, and especially when the preseason comes, so don't expect Jason Peters to play in preseason at all. Started Andre Dillard and did really well. Tim McManus tweeted out that Jason Peters has been literally teaching Andre Dillard the ropes, and he's been killing it. And Andre Dillard faced Vinny Curry today and stood him up and did really good today. This is going to come over his transition from the college to the NFL. Is going to be absolutely amazing. Lane Johnson also commented on Andre Dillard today, saying that in a few years he's going to be one of the most known left tackles in the league. And that's a good thing, because you pretty much got one of the best pass-protecting left tackles in this past draft. And then everybody was kind of like, against the run, he's not really that good. But, Jeff Stoutland don't believe that. Jeff Stoutland is the best offensive line coach in the whole entire NFL. And that's what I believe. So, Andre Dillard, good shit. And Jason Peters has shown him the ropes, and that's great. It's great that a rookie's not coming in here, and there's no one to show him the way. Besides the offensive line coach and Jeff Stoutland, of course. But to have a guy like that, and to have Lane Johnson, have the rest of those guys there, it's great. It's great, and it's really going to help him this whole entire year, having Jason Peters by his side. So I'm very happy about that. There was some news I forgot to talk to you about yesterday as well, because DeMarcus Ware actually came to Eagles practice training camp and actually saw some video today on Fletcher Cox getting trained, getting some tips from DeMarcus Ware. Not like Fletcher Cox really needs more, but you can always get better, even as a dominant player in the league. I know Aaron Donald was taught by DeMarcus Ware as well in this offseason before, minicamp happened this year. So it's really nice to see Fletcher Cox. He's one of the most classy guys, that he knows he's good, but he knows he could get better. And whatever whatever Fletcher Cox does, that Malik Jackson is just going to get better next to him. And Malik Jackson was on 94 radio, 94 WIP, I think this morning or yesterday morning, talking about he came here because of Fletcher Cox. And whatever he wants to see what Fletcher Cox sees, he wants to see how Fletcher Cox moves, how he gets out of blocks. Anything that gets Malik Jackson better. And Malik Jackson is already a great player. Malik Jackson is one of the best pass rushers in the league. Malik Jackson has won a Super Bowl. Malik Jackson knows what it's like to be in the playoffs. Malik Jackson knows how to have that mindset. And he knows the mindset of this team going forward. He knows who the leaders are on this defense. And all he's coming in to do is add to some backfield penetration, and that's it. He's just here as an added piece, and he knows that. He's not trying to take leadership. He's just going to win his job as a starter, and that's it. But to see Fletcher Cox trying to learn more, it's absolutely amazing. Can't really complain. Well, Matt Collins is not practicing today after that lower body injury, other than the groin injury that he did have. He has another injury, which I already discussed yesterday, but Matt Collins did not practice today. So I'm kind of lost hope on Matt Collins now. I thought there was a turnaround, little corner that was going to happen. I thought something would have turned by now, but as of right now, nothing's really happening. So that's all I got to say about that. Newly acquired LJ Fort rushed into the backfield today and tackled a running back behind the line of scrimmage today. Did a really good job. LJ Fort has had his chance. We picked him up in free agency from the Steelers. He left the Steelers, was always a special teams guy, and then went to the Steelers and played special teams for a while. And then by the end of the 2018 season, he started as a linebacker and actually did really well. That would probably be our best coverage linebacker, but his blitzing is very good. He has shown Jim Schwartz that he can penetrate the backfield, and he's got very, very good tackling. With an already good group with Zach Brown, and Nigel Bradham, and Nate Gary, and all these other guys. You have so many other pieces, even an undrafted guy, and TJ Edwards. You have so many other pieces right now that are going to contribute, and LJ Fort is definitely contributing this offseason, and I can't be more happy than what he's done so far. Joe Osman, the second-year defensive end, beat Jordan Mailata today, did a little bit of a spin move, got to the quarterback. There wasn't like tackling or anything like that, but they were in pads doing their thing, went past Jordan Mailata, got to him twice today. Now, I know Howie Roseman was very high on Joe Osman. A lot of you guys don't even know who Joe Osman is. Joe Osman, I think he was undrafted, came to our team last year and just sat out the whole entire year, okay? So Joe Osman, Howie Roseman is he's very high on him, looking for him to have a really good year and to probably make the roster. This is before, you don't know if the Eagles are going to sign Connor Barnes. You want to see what Sharif Miller can do. You want to see what Josh Sweat could do. Josh Sweat is my high priority as the young defensive end. Other than Derek Barnett, Josh Sweat is my next guy to make it to the top right now. At this moment, this preseason, I'm there to see some pressure and see that he's progressed and done some good things. Sharif Miller, it's going to be either he's going to do good or he's going to do really bad. One or the other. He just needs at least a year under his belt. And then you have Joe Osman that's getting pressure, but can he do something with the pressure, okay? Could he get his hands on somebody? This is where it's going to matter the most. Jordan Mailata is not the best guy to go against, but he's a big guy. He's strong. And you know what, Joe Osman, if he's working his tail off, I want to see young guys work their tail off and really get there and just get pressure. Like I said, you don't have to have the numbers, but if you hit the quarterback, if you have the quarterback in your hands, you got to take him down. There's no losing the quarterback. I don't like defensive linemen that let go of quarterbacks. You can get the pressure. If you get pressure and you make a move, that's fine. That's one thing. But if you get pressure, get your hands on the quarterback, and you literally, and us watching the TV knowing that you could take him down, and you don't take him down and he makes a big play out of it, then that's a huge problem. So going to see more of Joe Osman in the preseason, but very excited to see what happens in the future with him. Guys, I think Miles Sanders is showing what he could really do, because Doug Pearson, the rest of these coaches are starting to figure out, they are starting to know that Miles Sanders brings something more to the table than any of these running backs, and that is quickness, jump cuts, making guys miss. This guy brings a little bit more finesse to this running back room, and I think the front office is finally figuring it out. He had a red zone touchdown today, actually broke a tackle for a red zone touchdown today. Then Carson Wentz had him on a 15-yard pass. Then Carson Wentz had him on a perfectly good wheel route, and Carson Wentz hit him around the money. And Miles Sanders did a really good job catching the ball smoothly, not just a hard catch, then he has to turn around. A smooth catch and run, which is absolutely amazing. Miles Sanders is starting to progress now. We're starting to see it now, because you know what? He missed a lot of time with that little hamstring, and he missed a mini camp and OTAs and all that. And I said to myself, this is a lot of missed opportunity, a lot of missed time that Miles Sanders is having. So I am so glad that Miles Sanders is finally showing what he's going to have. I just can't wait to see him in preseason. I want to see him against another Jersey, another football team, and really, really show what he's got, okay, and see what he's got behind that line. Now, I understand that he's got to have at least an all right offensive line. Any running back needs an offensive line, but I'm hoping they put him with the first team at least to see what he's got with those, just see what we're going to have in the future, just to see what we're going to have this season and what it's going to be like for him to run with the football. So that's really it. I'm very excited for Miles Sanders. So Alshon Jeffrey caught a fade pass. Rasul Douglas being in there and pokes that ball out for incompletion. Rasul Douglas is having a very, very good year. Very good year. Jim Schwartz already had his press conference today, talked about Rasul Douglas not getting played at safety. So if you guys have the dream of Rasul Douglas getting reps at safety, it's not happening. He played safety last year. Jim Schwartz said he played safety last year because it was all hands on deck, of how he quoted it. All hands on deck. So pretty much like we just needed to throw people everywhere on this defense because we had no time. We had no players. We had no extra guys. We just threw players in where they had to go. And Rasul Douglas has had a very, very, very strong camp. And honestly, he's at the point where he's looking like starter material right now. And that's crazy because you know what? In the red zone D, I like Rasul Douglas, but when there's wide open field behind him, I'm not really fond of it too much. And on top of everything else today, Rasul Douglas, came up and tackled a running back in the backfield today. Came up and made a really good tackle. The one thing I'll say about Rasul Douglas is that he's very lengthy, but he comes up and makes tackles. It's crazy. He's got very good play recognition. He knows how to get around blockers to make these tackles, and he did a really good job. And if you watch last year, like he'll get beat on a play last year, he comes back with a really nice tackle. And, the kid fights back, and that's all that matters to me. Nate Sudfeld on one-on-ones, really good pass to Shelton Gibson, deep pass right in the end zone. And, Shelton Gibson is another guy who has something to prove as another deep threat. You have DeAndre Tompkins, the undrafted free agent from Penn State. You have a whole bunch of guys, some deep threat guys on this team that, you know what, Deshaun is not the only guy. If you need to take him off the field for a play because he needs a rest or a few plays, or God forbid, you never know, he'll be out of game. You need to put someone else out there. But I feel like Doug is going to do something else differently. He'll do a 2 tight end set with some different complications in this offense that are going to worry defenses so much. Okay, so Shelton Gibson has been fighting. His first year was horrible. His second year was last year was actually pretty damn good. He had a really good preseason, and then he made a really good catch during that Vikings game in double coverage, and then they took him out and they never put him back in. Probably the one problem I have with this team is when someone makes a good play and then you just you shelf him the rest of the year until you need him for one play, or to sit there and just act like as a decoy, as a deep threat. But you know what? Shelton Gibson is fighting his butt off. I think with Mac Hollins going down, I don't think he's even coming back now, is that Shelton Gibson will probably get one of those roster spots for the wide receiver backup position. Carson Wentz threw a deep ball to Nelson Aguilar almost to the end zone, and Sidney Jones was beat on this play, and then with the recovery of the football time that was in the air, Sidney Jones was able to get over to Nelson Aguilar and swat that ball down for an incompletion. Honestly, Sidney Jones had a really good camp, and this is a blessing in disguise because I think teams are going to start to wonder if they made a mistake not drafting Sidney Jones. Okay, I think teams are definitely made a mistake, and I said this is a make it break it year for Sidney Jones, and if he doesn't do anything this year, I don't know what to really say anymore. I really don't know what to say about him anymore, okay? Because then he has one more year on his contract on his rookie deal after this year for 2020, and then that's it. Then you have to figure it out. But Sidney Jones, it's not against another team's jersey, but the guy is making plays left and right, and he's working really hard. He's 100% healthy, and he's beating one of the fastest guys on our team. And, he was beat on the play, but to have that come-up speed to knock it down is absolutely amazing. That's a lot of fight. That's a lot of training. That's a lot of off-season work if he's doing that. So I'm very happy with Sidney Jones. Let's just keep this going with him. Carson Wentz threw a pass that wasn't even near his receiver. It tipped off a defender, and J.J. Arcega-Whiteside took a short pass off a tip, went 80 yards for a touchdown. 80 yards for a touchdown today. The whole offense went nuts today. This is good. This is really good because J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, I just can't wait to see this kid ball out. This kid is going to be our future. This kid is going to be plugged in on certain plays, for this year. But this kid is our future. I can't wait. How lengthy, how tall, the intermediate pass routes. But man, he could burn people. He's got legs on him. For a guy, it's like an Alshon Jeffrey with more speed. Okay, literally. And he's been fantastic. He's had a really good, strong camp so far. Had good mini camp, had good OTAs. Has done pretty damn good. Has looked very efficient, in this offense. Okay, whether he starts second team, whether he gets plugged in the red zone this year, I don't care. As long as he's playing, I don't care. And then, down the road, he will have a starting job. He will. It's only a matter of time. Jim Schwartz was asked about another defender, and that's defensive tackle Timmy Jernigan that we signed back after being like a $12-13 million cap hit coming this year. We let him go. He did not sign anywhere. Waited after the draft. Waited till everything was pretty much all the pieces were in place for all these teams, and then signed back with the Eagles on $1 million deal. Really, $1 million. That's all he's really getting paid this year. Okay. And Jim Schwartz was asked, on top of his injury, how much better has he been? How much has he been doing in camp? And Jim Schwartz said, if he not looked good, but better this year, especially in the scheme. He didn't want to talk about the injury. He's like, I'm not here to talk about the injury because that's not in his department. He said, I talk about how they play on the field. And he said that if he doesn't look good, if he doesn't look great right now, he looks even better, especially in this scheme right now. And Timmy Jernigan promised everybody, promised the fans, promised all these beat writers that were getting on him, like, oh, you're not the same player anymore. And then finally he's like, you'll see in September what kind of player I am. Don't knock me off, because you're going to see what type of player I am. So I'm really happy with Tim Jernigan. Timmy Jernigan brings like an excitement, to a defense. I love his attitude. I mean, he messes around a little bit, but he takes it serious. And when Fletcher Cox was out in 2017 for like 2 games during that Chargers game, like, I loved Tim Jernigan during that game. Like, he was putting his hands up. He was he was really amping up this defense. I mean, he's another leader. I mean, I don't think he's a leader in the locker room. I think he's like a nice support system in the locker room. But man, the guy has a lot of fire to him, and he's going to really show this year. But this rotation, this defensive line, it's crazy. It's just absolutely insane right now. Other than that, guys, that's really it. I think to really prime this whole thing, receivers looking good. Carson Wentz throwing the ball to everybody. The defense, but Sidney Jones had 2 picks. I actually missed another point, too. Sidney Jones picked off Arcega-Whiteside as well. So that's another pick for Sidney Jones in the books right now. I know it's just training camp, but, man, you really got to – Sidney Jones was quiet last year. Didn't really do a damn thing because he was just injured on and off. But to have a guy that's this healthy right now, whatever he's doing in his diet, whatever he's doing in the offseason, whatever he did to make his body better, to heal his body a lot better, is absolutely amazing. And, this team is looking really good right now. But it's way too early to even say anything, but hey, I can't really complain at all. So other than that, guys, that's really it. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. Doing videos on training camp every single day. I'll be coming at you guys with some good videos. So other than that, guys, I will see you guys later. Shakes caught up. Fly, fly.